Hey, morning guys. Wanted to share with you guys real quick about my experience yesterday, right? A pretty unique one in many levels. And yeah, so basically I got called up by a photography business, right? This guy who runs a photography business and he's somewhere in the middle of America, Michigan. And yeah, so this guy wanted he was basically told me that I'm the third SEO that he's contacting, and I actually have no clue where he found my number, right? I could count in one hand how many times somebody else called me for my service, right? It's usually me doing outbound, and but yeah, so anyways, even though he's a photography business, I kept on talking just to feel it out, just to tell him what I have to offer, what I would do, and what happens if I just speak it, right? That's really how I was taking it. I wasn't nervous or anything, like I am with roofers. I was just saying everything, yeah, this is what we do, exactly showing the plan, and I was making the proposal as we were speaking, right? I'm like, first this, that, taking pauses and stuff, and he was with it all, and it was almost like an hour and a half conversation, right? And in the end, what it came down to was this, right? He was only able to afford $500 a month. Now, he wanted the service so bad, he was saying that I'm willing to pay 6 months up front, right? So he's willing to pay $3,000 up front, and the keywords he was going for, like the service that he wants to rank for, right, was like corporate photography. It's within, it's a sub niche, and around his area where I was looking at, based on what I showed him, like this is where we're gonna go for, we're gonna rank. There's like little to no competition, right? It was like, when you are looking for the same, like the keywords with the city term, and you look at the headlines, and none of the headlines or metas have the city or that main term in the competition. I mean, in the, what do you call, optimization. It's like you don't have to go any more further. If I don't even do backlink check at that point. If none of the, like for example, a roofer in Bronx, right? Roofer in Brooklyn. Most of the time, the top 10 will have something with the word roofing, something with the roofing word Brooklyn. If none of them had the word roofing or Brooklyn, I would be like, what the hell, right? Well, I mean, they would have roofing, but not Brooklyn. I mean, it would be very a clear indication that the competition is not trying to go for those words. So it got me really twisted a bit, because I realized straightforward that this is something, from what I understand, at least getting the results that this guy is talking about is going to be a piece of cake, right? I could get these rankings at minimal effort, right? But he's breaking two big rules, pretty much we could call it that, because that's how a lot of us now, do our work. One is he can't afford $1,000 a month. It's only $500 a month. And two is he's in a different niche, right? And I tightened the screw on myself on niching down this year, really sticking to contractors so I can put everything in that way. And really, this video is about me being confused with that idea a bit, right? Now, this is a good time for me to explain one concept though, right? And I think this is really important. We tend to, at least me, go all or nothing with these things, right? And I'm not too sure if you're supposed to go all or nothing. I am sure niching down is the way to go. Don't think that I'm saying that, okay, be broad agency. No. I'm sure there's already been so much more benefits since the day I started being, even introducing myself as one industry, right? So niching down is the way to go. But when people are reaching out to you, I'm not too sure if you should be sticking to those rules, right? Especially if the work that you have to do is super easy. So, for example, if the photography business was in New York, and that place, in terms of search volume, the range was 10 to 100. New York is 10,000 to 100,000, I think. Wait, 1,000 to 10,000. That was the range for the same keywords. So New York was insane, and the people in New York, they had hundreds of reviews. The websites look like grand freaking, it's killed. They're very big companies in New York. It just makes sense. It's photography in New York City, right? It's a fucking big thing. But for that guy, it was, like I said, next to nothing. The title tags weren't optimized for the top competitors. So I just wanted to, kind of speak my mind, and, if anybody has experience with this, I mean, all I'm really trying to do, I guess, is kind of just get confirmation that yes, there's nothing no problems you're gonna face. Because the last thing I want to happen is, take this kind of work on, and then about after like 2-3 months be like, fuck, this slowed me down from scaling or some shit like that. But I don't know if I'm like making shit up in my head, but if the work is easy to do and the expectations for him are set properly, and you're allowing a lower payment because the work is easy and everything like that, and he knows where he stands, and it's not going to be a headache. And I can even set some other grounds, for example, like how much he can contact me. It should be fine, right? Because I feel kind of bad turning this, actually saying no to this prospect when he wanted the service bad enough to want 6 months in advance, right? It feels good in a sense because it means that I feel a bit more confident at my like pitch, like on top of the head pitch, because that's really what I did, right? It was first time I was looking at a photography business. I showed him like exactly, okay, like look at this, look at that, look at that, exactly like thinking out loud of what I would be doing if I was doing like, if he wasn't watching and I was just doing a analysis before I gave him the call. I just took him through that, and he was so sold between 3 other SEOs that he wanted to pay me 6 months in advance. So anyways, yeah, man, I mean, this is really want to share. I think if you guys, what I'm really taking out of this is that we have to be able to pivot in some ways, right? We have to be able to be like, all right, we're niching down in this, all our whatever, if you're branding yourself outside, it'll be for that. But if you get referrals, if you get somebody contacts you and you really check it, you should have a general idea of what kind of things you can have in place so you can take on other work, right? For example, one of the easiest is if the work is easy. Number 2 would be if the expectations are set, right? If those are in play, then number 3 would be, usually I would say, is that if they're willing to pay more than average, right? That is probably a good thing to take on other work. And in this case, that didn't meet that. He was paying less than average. I told him the minimum was 1,000. He was willing to pay up to 500. But yeah, so don't be too like think about certain things, and don't be too like focused on your hard rules as well. They're set in place so you can scale and do the make your agency grow and everything. But sometimes we're leaving money right on the table. Like, this is as leaving money on the table as it can get. Somebody willing to do everything. And even when I told him that from the content side, like I told him like with that price point we wouldn't be able to produce the content and stuff. If you were to be able to do the blogging, produce 2 high quality content per month, and he was up for it. So that's another thing. If they're coming to you and they're not in your niche, so there was like 3 things we just said. If they're willing to pay higher, if it's low competition, I forgot this other one, but the 4th one could be if you can pass some work on to them, and that will especially be brought up if the price is not average, right? If the price is lower and everything, a bit lower, then put some of the work on them. At this point, how it's getting. It's not just like all backlinks and stuff, right? A lot of it is just content marketing. Like if you guys do long tail keyword research and get them for that, you can do the research and let them put the content. And they probably already know the niche research, right? They're the best at research compared to long tail keywords. If you guys didn't pick that up already, somebody who's in their business, they know what the customer's concerns are. Those turn out to be the best form of blog post content, right? So if they can take care of that side, and you just really have to take care of the optimization and Google My Maps optimization and some authoritative links and stuff like that, that you can rent out possibly. Because if they're not in your niche, I'm assuming you don't have PBNs built for that niche, right? So I have PBNs only for roofing, right? And I have a few PBNs for contractors, right? In general, I have they're very niche down, right? Everything, the PBNs I'm getting them to rank slowly, and some of them actually have the Google My Business listings, right? It's because some of the PBNs dropped off from other businesses. So they have listings. I put the phone number, So initially what I'm doing is SEO for my PBNs. And anyways, I'm going off topic. But what I was trying to get to is you'd have to rent the links, right? Rent out some links to rank for the main terms. For this guy, I wouldn't need links. I know, it was too less competition to it would just need like proper site structure on page, some press releases and some stuff like that, and he would be getting a good, he would be getting up there. But anyways, to be able to conclude this, guys, think about, have some things in place where like we're always going super niche, and neither of them I think is good, right? Don't go like completely broad. Anybody who has money, you're gonna take them, or so niche that you're gonna turn down people who reach out to you, right? I would say go niche and then have certain metrics in place in your mind that if any niche comes in place, but it's this much competition and they're willing to pay this much, while they can, if the price is not there, they can take on this kind of work, I am willing to take them on, right? All right, that's that.